Hello there, and welcome to 100 Facts Before Sleep. Tonight, we drift into the ancient and extraordinary world of ants. The deep memory of our planet, written in tiny footprints and complex societies. Long before the first humans built cities, ants were already constructing vast, intricate empires beneath our feet. They farmed, they waged war, they communicated through silent chemical trails, building a civilization based on perfect, selfless cooperation. The quiet, bustling world beneath you is ancient beyond imagination. And yet, it is still moving, still building, still connecting. This is the story of the ant. A story of collective intelligence and intricate design, of tiny engineers and vast underground cities, of a beauty that takes millions of years to perfect. Within every colony, within every tiny worker, there are whispers of ancient forests, shared purpose, and the quiet, persistent hum of a world built on cooperation. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, I invite you to like, subscribe, or share a thought below. It helps others find their way here, too, one sleepy soul at a time. For now, just breathe. Let your eyes grow heavy, and let this ancient, tiny world cradle your thoughts. Let's begin. The ant is not just a simple insect. It is a single cell in a vast superorganism, a tiny part of a collective consciousness that operates with a complexity and efficiency that rivals, and sometimes surpasses, our own. This collective being, the colony, is the true organism. The single, tiny forager you see walking with such purpose across a stone is not an individual, not in the way we understand it. It is an extension of a larger, hidden intelligence. It is a mobile, sensing cell of a vast, stationary body. The single ant has no I. It has no personal ambition, no fear of its own death, no hope for its own future. Its entire life, every movement, every sense, is dedicated to the we. The colony is the individual. It is the creature that is born, that grows, that competes, that reproduces, and that, after decades, may finally die. The worker ant is as fleeting and as replaceable as a single skin cell on our own hand, and yet, it performs its role in the grand, collective life with a perfect, selfless, and unwavering devotion. This is a form of life so foreign to our own, a consciousness so distributed and collective, that it feels almost like a beautiful, impossible dream. But for the 15,000 different species of ant that inhabit our world, it is the one and only reality. How, then, is such a vast, collective being born? It does not begin as a city. It begins as a single, perilous, and poetic act of faith. It begins in the air. This is the nuptial flight, a sacred, ancient, and breathtaking ritual. On a single day, perhaps after a warm, heavy rain, when the air is still and the humidity is perfect, a silent signal is given. Across the landscape, from dozens, even hundreds of colonies of the same species, a new generation prepares for its single, transcendent moment. These are the alates, the winged princesses and the short-lived males. For weeks, they have been fed and tended by their sterile sisters, nourished and protected, their bodies filled with energy for this one ultimate purpose. They are the colony's genetic ambassadors, its entire investment in the future. They climb from the dark, familiar tunnels of their birth nest into the overwhelming, bright, and open world. And they take wing. The air, for a few brief hours, becomes a shimmering, swirling cloud of life, a living galaxy of tiny, hopeful bodies. They are clumsy flyers, carried more by the breeze than by their own strength, and in this vast, aerial ballroom, they find each other. The princesses, who are destined to be queens, will mate with multiple males, gathering in a special organ, the spermatheca, all the genetic material she will ever need for her entire, long life. For the males, this is their only purpose. Their story is a brief, romantic, and tragic one. A single flight, a single act of procreation, and then, their duty fulfilled, they fall back to the earth, their life's work complete in a single, sunlit afternoon. But for the newly mated princess, the true journey, the great and lonely trial, has only just begun. She is now a queen. She drifts back down to the earth, landing perhaps miles from where she began, a solitary traveler in a vast, unknown, and dangerous world. The first thing she does is a profound, symbolic, and irreversible act of commitment. She finds a place of shelter, and she deliberately, painstakingly, snaps off her own wings. She breaks them at their base, discarding the beautiful, silvery tools of her former life. They were for the sky, and her new destiny is in the earth. They are a memory, and now they are a burden. Her new world is one of darkness, of soil, and of patience. She is a queen without a single subject, a monarch with no kingdom. She must build her empire from nothing, and she must build it from her own body. She begins to dig. With her own jaws and legs, she excavates a tiny, primitive chamber in the damp soil. This is her founding chamber, her claustrum. Once inside, she seals the entrance, a tiny plug of dirt that cuts her off from the outside world. She has buried herself alive. In this total, silent, and voluntary confinement, her great sacrifice begins. She will not see the sun again. She will not eat, perhaps for months. Her only fuel is her own body. The now useless, powerful flight muscles in her thorax, the muscles that carried her on her one great journey, are slowly, metabolically, broken down and reabsorbed. Their rich protein becomes her fuel. She has become her own, living larder. And in this solitude, she begins her true work. She lays her first eggs. They are tiny, pearlescent, and impossibly precious. She is no longer just a queen. She is a mother, a nurse, and a guardian. She guards the eggs, she licks them clean, her saliva preventing the growth of deadly mold. When they hatch into tiny, white, legless larvae, she feeds them. She produces nutritious, trophic eggs, or feeds them with her own saliva, her body slowly wasting away, converting her own substance into life for this first, fragile generation. She is betting her entire existence on their survival. The larvae grow, they become pupae, tiny, motionless bundles of transformation. And then, finally, the first of her children emerges. These are the nanitics. They are the first workers. They are not the large, impressive soldiers that will come later. They are tiny, often frail, and undersized, their growth stunted by the Queen's limited resources. But they are perfect. They are born knowing. They emerge from their pupal case, and their first act is not to rest, but to work. They are born with their purpose, their entire being already bound to the collective. They immediately begin to tend to their mother, the Queen, cleaning her, grooming her. They begin to expand the tiny nest, their tiny jaws digging new tunnels. And, most importantly, they break the seal of the founding chamber. They emerge into the world, the first foragers of a new city, and they find the first real food that this newborn colony has ever tasted. The Queen's long, solitary fast is over. Her gamble has paid off. From this moment, her role will change forever. She will never dig again. She will never forage. She will never again see the light of the sun. She will become the living, sacred, reproductive heart of the superorganism. She is not a ruler. She does not give commands. She is the central, precious organ of the colony, its mother goddess, its egg-laying engine. And she will continue this work, day after day, in the constant, protected, thermal stability of her royal chamber, for 10, 20, sometimes even 30 years. A single, mated female, living a life of perfect, dark stillness, becoming the mother of a city of millions, a single, living, breathing superorganism that is every single worker, a genetic extension of her own body. This vast and silent city, a metropolis born from a single, patient mother, is a place of perfect, intricate, and unspoken order. It can be home to millions of citizens, each performing one of dozens of different, specialized tasks, all in a darkness as total as the deep sea. And yet, there is no sound. There are no shouted commands, no written laws, no grand, architectural blueprints. The colony works. It functions with a precision and unity that is almost terrifying. And it does this because the nest, which we see as dark and silent, is, to its inhabitants, a world that is blazing with information. It is a city not of light and sound, but of taste and scent. The ants have evolved a language as complex and as nuanced as any on Earth, but it is a language that is written on the air and on the ground. It is the language of pheromones. This chemical vocabulary is the true consciousness of the colony. It is the invisible, social media network that binds the million, separate, individual bodies into a single, unified, and intelligent mind. An ant's world is not one of vistas and images. It is a landscape of chemical textures. Its primary sense organs are its two, delicate, elbow-jointed antennae. These are not just feelers for touching. They are the most sophisticated mobile chemical laboratories in the natural world. An ant's antenna is its nose, its tongue, and its fingertips, all woven into one. With these, it tastes the air. It reads the ground. It can follow a story, written in molecules, that is completely invisible to us. It can smell the age of a footprint. It can taste the mood of a sister. It can know, in an instant, the direction of home, the identity of a stranger, and the location of a feast. This chemical language, this constant, silent, and invisible conversation, is what allows the superorganism to think. The simplest, and perhaps most beautiful, word in this language is the trail. When a single forager ant leaves the nest, she is an explorer, stepping out into a vast, chaotic, and largely meaningless void. She may wander for hours, but when she stumbles upon a source of food, a fallen beetle, a drop of sweet, fallen nectar, she performs a simple, yet magical, act. She eats, and then she turns for home. And as she walks, she gently, rhythmically, taps the tip of her abdomen to the ground, leaving behind a microscopic, invisible, and volatile line of chemical. A pheromone. This is not just a line. It is a sentence. It is a single, chemical idea that says, simply, follow. This trail, this tiny, aromatic thread, is the first string in a great, invisible, and communal web. When she arrives at the nest, this trail is a quiet suggestion. Other foragers, sensing this new, exciting scent with their antennae, will be drawn to it. They will follow this invisible road. And this is where the genius of the system lies. It is a system of reinforcement. If the food source is small or mediocre, only a few ants will follow the trail, and they will reinforce it only weakly. The volatile chemical will quickly evaporate, and the trail will fade. The colony forgets this mediocre path. But if the food source is wonderful, a large, sugary fruit, a huge, dead moth, the ants who follow the trail will become excited. They will eat, and they will all return, and they will all lay down their own layer of the same pheromone. They are all voting for this trail. The scent, reinforced by hundreds, then thousands, of sisters, becomes a blazing, aromatic highway. It is a chemical shout that the entire colony can read, a powerful, irresistible signal that says, "Here! This way! Abundance!" The colony does not decide to send its workforce. The workforce is summoned by the sheer, democratic power of the reinforced scent. The trail becomes a form of shared, external memory. And because the chemical is volatile, this memory is alive. It is a map that is constantly updating itself. As the food source runs out, the ants stop reinforcing the trail. The scent begins to fade. The colony's attention is drawn, instead, to other, newer, and more exciting trails. The system is perfectly efficient, never wasting its precious, collective energy on a journey that is no longer fruitful. But this language is far, far richer than just follow. There are dozens, perhaps hundreds, of other chemical words. Imagine a worker, deep in a dark, crowded tunnel. A small cascade of pebbles falls, trapping her, injuring her. In her distress, her body does not release a follow scent. It releases an alarm pheromone. This chemical is different. It is not a line. It is an explosive, expanding cloud in the air. It is a chemical shout. It is the word danger, or attack. The sisters nearby who taste this scent in the air are instantly, physiologically, transformed. Their calm, orderly behavior vanishes. They become agitated. They rear up, they open their mandibles, their bodies are flooded with their own form of adrenaline. They are instantly ready for a fight. And they do not run away from the scent. They run towards it, ready to defend their trapped sister, ready to attack the source of the danger. And in the very heart of the nest, in the royal chamber, is the most important and most complex scent of all, the scent of the queen. The queen is, at all times, producing her own, unique, royal perfume. It is a complex bouquet of molecules that defines the entire colony. This scent is her signal. It is passed from ant to ant, from mouth to mouth, in a constant, gentle, and social act of sharing food and saliva, a process called trophallaxis. This queen scent is the colony's flag, its national anthem. It is the single, chemical signature that says, "We are this colony. We are one. We have a healthy, living, and fertile mother." It is the "I am" of the superorganism. This scent is also a form of gentle, chemical control. The constant, low-level presence of the queen's pheromone suppresses the reproductive organs of all her thousands of daughters, ensuring that they remain selfless, sterile workers, and that she remains the one and only mother. If the queen should die, this signal, this scent, would stop. Its absence would be a chemical signal of profound crisis, a message that would spread through the colony in hours, causing chaos, and, in many species, triggering the ovaries of some workers to awaken, a desperate, final attempt to create new life. This shared, communal scent, a mixture of the queen's perfume, the food they all eat, and the very soil of their nest, is the colony's passport. It is the way they know, in a fraction of a second, the difference between us and them. When two ants meet in a tunnel, they will briefly, gently, touch their antennae. They are not saying hello. They are tasting each other's identity papers. They are asking a single, silent question: do you smell like home? If the scent is familiar, they will pass, perhaps pausing to share a drop of food. But if the scent is different, if it is other, the response is immediate and merciless. It is an intruder, an enemy, a profound, chemical wrongness. The ant will be attacked, seized, and torn apart by a collective, chemically driven fury. And finally, this language even governs their understanding of death. When an ant dies, its body, in its stillness, begins to change. The complex lipids in its cuticle, its exoskeleton, begin to decompose. And as they do, they release a new, simple, and final chemical, oleic acid. This is the ant's chemical word for corpse. It is the signal for a gravedigger. When another worker, a specialist in waste disposal, an undertaker, senses this simple, final scent, it has one unwavering duty. It will gently pick up the body of its dead sister, carry it out of the clean, living tunnels of the nest, and place it in the colony's midden, its graveyard. This response is so automatic, so hardwired, that scientists have, in a strange and beautiful experiment, gently painted a living, healthy ant with this single chemical. The ant, perfectly alive and struggling, is suddenly dead to its sisters. They will, despite its protests, pick it up and carry it to the graveyard. They will do this over, and over, and over again, until the death scent finally wears off. The living ant is helpless against the chemical word. It cannot protest, it cannot argue. Its sisters are not being cruel, they are simply obeying the profound, simple, and unwavering logic of their chemical reality. The ant's world is a silent symphony of these complex and invisible messages, a reality built not of light and sound, but of the deep, ancient, and powerful language of scent. This vast, collective mind, this superorganism, speaking its silent, chemical language, must have a body. And the body of the colony is its nest. The ant nest is not just a hole in the ground. It is not a simple shelter. It is a vast, complex, and living piece of architecture. It is an external organ, a structure so perfectly designed and so intricately managed that it functions as the colony's collective lungs, its external womb, its fortress, and its granary. The sheer variety and sophistication of these structures are a testament to the ant's role as the single, most important engineers of the Earth. For over 130 million years, these tiny architects have been relentlessly tilling, turning, and reshaping the planet's soil, building cities that dwarf our own in their complexity and efficiency. The simplest nests are humble, found in the opportunistic, pre-made cavities of the world. A tiny colony may take up residence in a hollow acorn, a fallen, empty snail shell, or the hollow, pithy stem of a weed. They are masters of finding the tiny, forgotten spaces. But from these simple beginnings, the empires grow. The most common nests are the ones we walk over every day, the vast, subterranean cities excavated from the soil. From the surface, all we see is a small, insignificant crater of dirt, a tiny doorway. But this doorway is the chimney of a cathedral. If you could slice away the earth, you would find a world of breathtaking complexity. The nest is a network of vertical, interconnected shafts and horizontal, flattened chambers, a labyrinth that can stretch for dozens in all directions, and plunge deep into the earth. And it is not random. It is a city with a plan. It is a structure of perfect, thermal design. The chambers deep underground, where the temperature and humidity are almost constant, are the safest, most stable rooms. This is where the queen often lives, in her royal chamber, protected from the harsh, fluctuating world above. The chambers closer to the surface, which are warmed by the sun, are the nurseries. The worker ants, the nurses, are engaged in a constant, gentle, vertical migration. In the cool of the morning, they will carry the colony's precious brood, the eggs, the larvae, the pupae, up to these sun-warmed upper chambers, like placing a child in a patch of sunlight to warm it. As the sun reaches its peak, and these chambers become too hot, they will gently carry the brood back down, to the cooler, more stable depths. They are constantly, actively, managing the climate of their young, ensuring they develop at the perfect, optimal temperature. The nest is a living, breathing, thermodynamic machine. It has ventilation shafts, built with a deep, instinctive knowledge of physics, that use the wind and the natural convection of rising warm air to pull fresh, cool oxygen deep into the nest, and to exhaust the stale, carbon dioxide-rich air from the millions of breathing citizens within. The nest is the colony's lung. And this architecture is not limited to the soil. Let us travel to the high canopies of the tropical rainforests of Africa and Australia. Here, we find the Ecophylla, the weaver ant. They have abandoned the earth and build their homes in the sky. Their nests are beautiful, globe-like structures made of living leaves, bound together with a fine, white, and incredibly strong silk. But adult ants have no silk glands. So, how do they build? They have evolved one of the most astonishing and cooperative forms of construction in the known world. They have learned to use their own children as tools. When a new nest is to be built, a group of worker ants will go to the edge of a large leaf. Several ants will line up, and some will grasp the edge of a neighboring leaf with their powerful jaws. Then, in a stunning display of collective strength, they will pull, linking their own bodies together into living chains, to draw the two leaves together. They can span gaps of several inches, their tiny bodies straining in perfect, cooperative unison. Once the gap is closed, another group of workers arrives. These ants are carrying, very gently, in their mandibles, the colony's larvae. The ant larva, the baby ant, does have a silk gland. It is the same gland it will later use to spin its pupal cocoon. The worker ant gently squeezes the larva's body, and the larva exudes a single, sticky, strong thread of silk. The worker then weaves, dabbing the larva's head back and forth between the two leaf edges, using its own, living sister as a tiny, biological, silk gun. They stitch the living forest together, thread by thread, child by child, creating a safe, waterproof, and perfectly camouflaged home. But perhaps the most alien and wondrous nest of all is the one that is not a structure at all. It is the nest that is alive. This is the world of the Eciton or army ant, the nomadic terror of the jungle floor. Army ants have no permanent home. They are in a constant, migratory state, a rolling, living river of hundreds of thousands of bodies, sweeping across the forest floor, consuming every insect, scorpion, and lizard in their path. They are a nomadic horde. And when it is time to rest, when the sun goes down, or when their queen needs to pause to lay her tens of thousands of eggs, they do not build a nest of dirt or leaves. They build it of themselves. This is the bivouac. The ants, in a whirlwind of self-organization, begin to link their bodies together. They hook their legs and their tarsal claws onto each other, ant to ant to ant, creating living chains, living nets, living, structural walls. They form a single, massive, writhing, and hollow sphere of living ants. This is the bivouac. It can be the size of a basketball, or a bushel basket, containing 500,000 individuals. The outer surface of this living nest is a dense, protective crust of larger soldier ants, their bodies forming an impenetrable, shifting armor. But inside this living, breathing, and slowly shifting wall, the nest is hollow. There are tunnels and chambers, all made of the interlocked legs and bodies of the workers. And in the very center, in the safest, warmest, most protected chamber, is the queen and her precious brood, all sheltered within a living, breathing, and sentient castle of their own sisters. The bivouac is a nest that is, at all times, aware. It can regulate its own temperature, the ants on the surface huddling closer if it's cold, or fanning out to create ventilation if it's hot. It is a temporary, living, and intelligent structure, a fortress of flesh, that will, in a few days, simply dissolve, waking up, and flowing back into the forest as a single, terrifying, and relentless river of life. From the deep, climate-controlled, subterranean city, to the silk-stitched, living leaf castles in the sky, to the breathing, shifting, and nomadic fortress of the bivouac, the ant's nest is the ultimate expression of the superorganism's power. The power to reshape the world, and even itself, to create the perfect, collective home. This vast, collective body, this city of millions, must function. It must find food, it must raise its young, it must defend its borders, and it must grow. And just as the cells in our own body are specialized, a heart cell is not a skin cell, a nerve cell is not a blood cell, the ant colony, the superorganism, has evolved its own, profound, and elegant system of specialization. This is the story of the ant's career, a life of devoted, selfless, and predetermined work. It is a world of castes, a society where every individual is born, or rather grows, into its perfect, necessary role. There is no ambition, no confusion, no choice. There is only the quiet, beautiful, and unwavering hum of perfect cooperation. This division of labor is not, in most species, a rigid, lifelong assignment. It is a slow, graceful, and one-way journey. It is a path determined by the most simple and elegant of metrics, age. An ant's job, its role in the colony, is a direct reflection of how old it is. This is age polytheism, and it is a system of genius, a perfect allocation of risk and resources. When a new worker ant, a female, emerges from her pupal case, she is a callow. She is pale, soft, and fragile. Her exoskeleton has not yet hardened, and her first job is the safest, most protected, and most vital job in the entire empire. She is assigned to the deep, dark, and climate-controlled heart of the nest. She becomes a nurse. Her first act is to care for the next generation. She is surrounded by the colony's treasure, the tiny, pearlescent eggs, the white, helpless, grub-like larvae, and the motionless, transforming pupae. Her work is gentle, constant, and meticulous. She tends to the queen, her mother, grooming her constantly, licking her clean, and receiving from her the precious, pheromone-rich secretions that bind the colony together. She feeds her mother, mouth to mouth, in that intimate, social act of trophallaxis, the communal sharing of food that is the colony's circulatory system. She tends to the eggs, moving them, cleaning them with her antiseptic saliva, preventing the growth of the ever-present, deadly mold. But her most demanding work is the larvae. The ant larva is, in essence, a tiny, external stomach for the colony. It is a helpless, eating machine. The nurse ants must feed it constantly, regurgitating their own, predigested food into its tiny mouth. They must clean it. And they must move it. They are the living, climate control system, carrying the brood up to the sun-warmed upper chambers in the morning, and back down to the cool, safe depths in the heat of the day. The nurse is the living, breathing, external womb of the superorganism, and she will perform this gentle, internal, and vital work for the first weeks of her life. As she grows older, as her body hardens and her glands change, her career progresses. She will graduate from the nursery. Her next set of tasks will take her a little further from the central heart. She becomes a member of the nest maintenance crew. She is a builder, an engineer, a sanitation worker. She and her sisters, her age cohort, will be responsible for the physical integrity of the city. We see them, emerging from the nest entrance, carrying a single, tiny grain of sand, one by one by one. To us, it seems like a small, insignificant act. But this is how cathedrals are built. It is the collective, patient, and relentless action of thousands, each performing a simple, programmed task that allows for the excavation of vast, complex, and ventilated cities. They repair tunnel collapses. They build new chambers. And, just as importantly, they are the garbage collectors. They seek out the dead, the corpses of their sisters, sensing that final, chemical death cue. They will pick up these bodies, along with other waste, food scraps, and fungal spores, and carry them to the colony's midden, its designated graveyard, a specific chamber, or an area outside the nest, keeping the living tunnels meticulously, hygienically clean. As the ant ages further, she is pushed, once again, to a new role, one of greater risk. She moves to the periphery. She becomes a guard. She is stationed at the hot, dry, and dangerous precipice, the nest entrance. This is the boundary between the self and the other, the known and the unknown. Here, she is a living, chemical checkpoint. She and her sisters will stand, their antennae constantly tasting the air, and tasting every single ant that tries to enter. When a sister, a nestmate, returns from the outside, she must present her passport. The guard will brush her with her antennae, reading the unique, chemical signature of the colony, that shared, familial perfume, that scent of home. If the scent is correct, the ant is allowed to pass. But if the scent is alien, if it is a wandering ant from a rival colony, a parasite, or a predator, the guard's response is instant and ferocious. An alarm pheromone is released, and the intruder is met with a wave of defensive, suicidal fury. And finally, when the ant is at her oldest, when her body is worn, her mandibles perhaps blunted, her life is deemed the most expendable. And it is only then that she is promoted to the final, and most glorious, and most dangerous job of all. She becomes a forager. This is the colony's beautiful, poignant, and practical secret. It does not send its young, its strongest, its most valuable members out to face the world. It sends its elderly. The forager is the ant we are most familiar with, the one we see walking across our patio, climbing a tree. But she is an ant in the final days of her life. The colony is risking the least. If a nurse dies, the colony loses weeks or months of valuable, internal work. If a forager is snatched by a bird, or drowned in a raindrop, or lost in the vast, confusing wilderness, the colony has only lost a few, final days of work. And so these old, wise, and expendable sisters are the ones who make the great journey. They are the eyes, the nose, and the hands of the colony. They are the ones who follow the pheromone highways, who discover the fallen fruit, who bring home the protein and the sugar that feeds the nurses, who feed the larvae, who feed the queen, who lays the eggs that will one day become the next generation of foragers. It is a perfect, one-way, and beautiful cycle of life, a career that begins in the deepest, safest, dark, and ends in the bright, glorious, and perilous light of the outside world. But this system of age is not the only way the colony divides its labor. In many species, evolution has taken this a step further. It has created physical castes. The workers are not all born equal. They are not just on a different timeline, they are in different bodies. This is polymorphism. By feeding a larva more or less food, the colony can decide what kind of tool it needs. It can grow a small, fast, and agile miner worker, perfect for nursing or for rapidly exploring new territory. Or, it can invest. It can pour its precious protein into a larva, growing it to an immense size. And from this larva will emerge a major, a soldier. The soldier ant is a creature of breathtaking, and sometimes terrifying, specialization. In some species, like the army ant, the soldier is a giant, her body dwarfing her minor sisters, her legs long and powerful. But her true specialization is her head. Her head is a colossal, armored-plated, muscle-filled casque, and at its front are a pair of sickle-shaped, razor-sharp mandibles. These are not tools for digging. They are not tools for carrying food. They are, purely and simply, weapons. They are living shears, designed for one purpose: to fight, to protect the foraging column, and to dismember the colony's prey. This specialization is so extreme that, like a medieval knight in armor too heavy to feed himself, this soldier ant is often completely helpless. Her jaws are so large and so specialized for fighting that she cannot properly feed herself. She must be fed, mouth to mouth, by her tiny, minor worker sisters. She is a living, walking, and totally dependent weapon, a specialized fighting cell of the superorganism, a mouth that cannot eat. And this specialization can become even more strange, more wondrous. Let us travel to the dry, arid deserts of North America or Australia. Here, food is scarce. There is no gentle, daily rain of nectar. The world is a cycle of boom and bust. And the ant colony has evolved a solution of pure, living genius. This is the world of the honeypot ant. When the desert blooms, when the flowers finally release their precious, liquid sugar, the foragers work at a frantic pace. They gather this nectar, but they cannot store it in clay pots. They cannot build a cellar. So, They become the seller. A certain, specific caste of worker, known as a replete, is chosen. Her destiny is perhaps the strangest of all. She walks, not to the outside world, but to a special, deep, and quiet chamber in the nest. And she climbs to the ceiling. And she hangs there. She hangs by her feet, her body dangling down, and she will never, for the rest of her life, move from this spot. She is a living storage vessel. The foragers return, their own social stomachs full of nectar, and they find these hanging, patient sisters. And they feed them. Mouth to mouth, they pass the liquid gold. The replete's abdomen, her gaster, is designed to be a living, expandable, biological bag. It begins to swell. It stretches and stretches, the hard, dark, chitinous plates of her abdomen pulling apart, revealing the thin, pale, and translucent membrane between. It swells from the size of a tiny seed, to the size of a pea, to the size of a small, perfect, round grape. Her body becomes a huge, golden, shimmering globe of honey, a tiny, living, and translucent lantern, filled with the colony's entire, collective wealth. And there she hangs, a living, breathing pantry. And when the hard times come, when the desert is dry and the flowers are gone, the colony does not starve. The other workers, the nurses, the queen herself, will come to these living larders. They will gently, politely, tap the replete's antennae, a quiet, chemical request. And the replete, in a final, perfect act of selfless, communal sharing, will regurgitate a single, tiny, life-saving drop of the honey she has held, her own body, her entire life, a sweet and gentle sacrifice for the survival of the whole. This civilization, this city of sisters, is not just a fortress. It is a thriving, self-sustaining economy. The ants, in their ancient, collective wisdom, have discovered a secret that our own human species would not learn for another 100 million years. They are not just hunters. They are not just foragers. They are farmers. And they are ranchers. They are the world's first, and most tiny, agriculturalists. They have domesticated other species, tending to them, protecting them, and harvesting their bounty, in a symbiotic relationship that is one of the most beautiful and patient in the natural world. This is the story of the ant as a shepherd, and as a gardener. Let us first drift into the sunlit world of a simple garden. You are looking at the tender, new green stem of a rose bush. And you see it is covered in a tiny, dense, green flock of aphids. To the gardener, these are a pest. They are tiny, soft-bodied insects, and they are, in essence, living straws. They press their sharp, needle-like mouthparts, their stylets, deep into the veins of the plant, tapping directly into the phloem. This is the plant's circulatory system, the river of sweet, sugary sap that the plant creates in its leaves and sends down to its roots. The aphids drink this pressurized, liquid life force, this solar-powered sugar water. But this sap is so rich in sugar, and so relatively poor in the other nutrients the aphids need, that they must drink an enormous amount of it. And as they drink, they excrete. They constantly, rhythmically, release a tiny, perfect, and crystal-clear drop of almost pure, sugary waste from their abdomens. This liquid is called honeydew. To us, it is a sticky nuisance. To the ants, it is a river of gold. It is a pure, pre-processed, and perfectly renewable source of energy. And the ants have learned to harvest it. This is the ant as a rancher. You will see them, the workers of a species like Lasius, the common black garden ant, moving slowly and gently through their flock. They do not harm the aphids. They are not predators. They are partners. They are shepherds. An ant will approach an aphid and, with a delicacy that is almost loving, it will begin to milk it. It gently, rhythmically, strokes the aphid's abdomen with its two, sensitive antennae. This touch, this gentle, tactile caress, is a signal. It mimics the feeling of another aphid, or the simple, physical need to excrete. And the aphid responds. It obliges its tiny shepherd, and it releases, directly to the ant, its perfect, waiting drop of honeydew. The ant drinks this sweet gift, its social stomach filling with the energy that will soon be shared with the entire colony. This is not a casual, one-time theft. This is a contract. This is domestication. The ants are not just taking the honeydew, they are paying for it. They are paying in the most valuable currency in the insect world: protection. The aphids, soft-bodied, slow, and full of sugar, are the perfect, helpless prey for 1,000 different predators. A single, hungry ladybug, or the terrifying, sickle-jawed larva of a lacewing, can wander into an aphid flock and decimate it in minutes. But not when the shepherds are on duty. The ants, with their powerful mandibles, their acidic chemical weapons, and their ferocious, suicidal, collective defense instinct, are the perfect bodyguards. They patrol their flock constantly. When a ladybug, a creature 10 times the ant's size, lands on the stem, it is not met by a single, fearful farmer. It is met by a swarm. A wave of furious, biting, and spraying ants will overwhelm the predator, driving it off, or tearing it to pieces. The ants have created a safe, protected, and perfect pasture for their tiny, green cattle. This partnership, this husbandry, is even deeper than it appears. The ants are not just passive guards, they are active managers. They will manage their herd. If one part of the plant, one pasture, begins to wilt, its phloem sap drying up, the ants will move their flock. They will gently, carefully, pick up the soft-bodied aphids in their jaws, one by one, and carry them to a new, fresher, more vigorous, and sap-filled stem. They are rotating their livestock. And in a final, astonishing act of true, multi-generational farming, they will even manage the aphid's life cycle. When the cold of autumn comes, and the adult aphids lay their final, tiny, black, overwintering eggs, the ants know these are precious. These are the seeds of next year's flock. The ants will find these eggs. They will gather them, and they will carry them down, deep into their own, subterranean nest. They will take these eggs of a completely different species into their own, climate-controlled, safe, and warm nurseries. And they will tend to them all winter long, protecting them from the frost, cleaning them with their antiseptic saliva, just as they do their own brood. And then, when the warmth of spring returns, when the first new, tender leaves appear on the rose bush, the ants will carry these precious, black pearls back up, into the sunlight. They will gently place them on the new stems, and they will wait, patiently, for their new, spring flock to hatch. This is not instinct. This is agriculture. It is a slow, patient, and perfect partnership, a chemical contract, a tiny, living dairy farm that has been running, uninterrupted, for 50 million years. But for all the quiet genius of the shepherd, there is another ant, another superorganism, that has taken this one step further. They are not just ranchers. They are gardeners. They are the great, fungal farmers of the New World. This is the realm of the atter, the leafcutter ant. Imagine, now, a different scene. The floor of a tropical rainforest in Costa Rica. At dusk, you do not see a single ant. You see a river. It is a living, pulsating, and endless ribbon of green, 3 inches wide, stretching for 100 yards, from the forest floor up into the high canopy, and back down again, disappearing into a large, bare, crater-like hole in the earth. You look closer, and you see this river is made of individuals. It is a column of reddish-brown ants, marching with a relentless, shared, and identical purpose. And each ant is holding, in her jaws, a perfect, bright green, crescent-shaped piece of a leaf, a segment she has just sliced from a living tree. She holds this piece aloft, like a banner or a sail. The entire, winding column is a procession of tiny, green sails, a beautiful, silent, and mysterious parade. The great, and logical, misunderstanding is that they are eating these leaves. But they are not. An ant's biology, its thin, wasp-like waist, its digestive system, is not designed to consume and digest solid food. And more importantly, ants, like us, cannot digest cellulose, the tough, structural material of a plant leaf. So, what is this great, green, and endless harvest for? It is not food. It is compost. The leafcutter ant is not a forager. She is a farmer. And she is gathering the raw, green, and perfect ingredients for her farm. This is one of the most complex, stratified, and beautiful societies on Earth. A city built around a single, shared, and sacred purpose: the cultivation of a magical, living food. Let us follow this tiny, green sail. The forager ant, a large, major worker, carries her burden back along a highway her sisters have cleared, a path stripped bare of all debris. She arrives at the entrance to her city. This is not a simple nest. It is a megalopolis. A single, mature atta colony can be a vast, underground labyrinth of 2,000 separate, interconnected chambers, stretching 30 feet wide and 20 feet deep. It is the result of millions of hours of excavation, a city that can house 8 million individuals. The ant carries her leaf sail down, into the dark, humid, and climate-controlled tunnels. She does not take it to the garden. Her job, as a large, outside worker, is done. She drops her leaf at a receiving station, and she turns, immediately, to make the long journey back for another. Now, a new caste of worker, a new career, takes over. A smaller, medium-sized ant, an inside worker, takes the leaf. Her jaws are not for cutting down trees. They are for mincing. She slices the large leaf fragment into tiny, tiny pieces. And then, she does something both simple and profound. She chews it. She chews it into a soft, wet, green pulp. And she adds a drop of her own, enzyme-rich saliva. And then, in an act of perfect, agricultural wisdom, she will add a single, tiny, fecal droplet. This is not waste. This is manure. It is a drop of pure, nitrogen-rich fertilizer. She has created a perfect, pulped, and fertilized paste. She then takes this tiny, green wad of paste, and she carries it to a new, special chamber. A garden. You look inside, and you see one of the strangest and most beautiful sights in nature. The chamber is full of a single, vast, grayish-white, and spongy-looking mass. It looks like a living, breathing, and intricately sculpted piece of brain coral. This is the colony's fungal garden. This is their crop. This is their true food. The ant gently plants her new, green, fertilized pulp onto the surface of this living, gray mass. And then, a new caste of worker, the smallest of all, the minor workers, the gardeners, begin their work. These tiny ants, some no bigger than the head of a pin, are the true tenders of the crop. Their entire, short life is spent here, in the dark, humid, garden chambers. They are the living, breathing, pest control system. They climb, like tiny, Lilliputian farmers, all over the vast, grey, and spongy hills of their world. And they weed. They meticulously patrol, their tiny antennae tasting, and their tiny mandibles cleaning. They pluck out any weed spores from other, rival fungi. They remove any weed bacteria. They are in a constant, delicate, and silent battle against a single, parasitic mold, a species called Escovopsis, that is the ancient, evolutionary enemy of their garden. And they have a secret weapon. The atta ants, in this 50-million-year-old arms race, have evolved their own pesticide. On the ant's own body, in special, tiny crevices, she cultivates a third species. A bacteria. A waxy, white, Streptomyces bacteria, the same family of bacteria that we have harnessed to create our own, human antibiotics. This ant, this tiny, farmer ant, is culturing an antibiotic-producing bacteria on her own skin. And she will use it, she will paint her garden with it, to selectively kill the parasite, to protect her sacred crop. This is not just farming. This is a multi-kingdom, co-evolved, and chemically sophisticated system of agriculture that predates our own by tens of millions of years. And what is the harvest? The fungus, this Leucocoprinus fungus, which is found nowhere else on Earth, which cannot survive without its ants, is grateful for this care. In response to the ant's constant, gentle pruning and feeding, the fungus does not grow into a normal mushroom. Instead, it produces, on its hyphal tips, a special, swollen, and nutritious structure. A tiny, white, and protein-rich bead of food. These are called gongylidia. This is what the ants are eating. The fungus is fruiting a perfect, bite-sized, and nutrient-dense food pellet. A payment, a salary, for its tiny, perfect, and devoted farmers. The queen is fed this food. The larvae are fed this food. The entire 8 million citizen-strong city, this vast, underground, and climate-controlled metropolis, is built and powered by a single, strange, grey, and spongy crop, cultivated in the dark, in a perfect, ancient, and unbreakable contract between an insect and a fungus. It is a story of such deep, quiet, and interwoven intelligence that it almost stills the mind. But this perfect, cooperative, and selfless society, this city of sisters bound by a single, shared perfume, exists in a world that is not empty. The forest floor, the jungle canopy, the desert plain, these are crowded places. Territory is finite. Resources, the fallen fruit, the aphid herds, the fields of fungus, are precious. And so, this perfect, internal peace, this we, has, as its inevitable shadow, an external and ferocious, them. The story of the ant is not just the story of cooperation. It is also the story of conflict. It is the story of war. But ant warfare is not like our own. It is not fought for belief, or for glory, or for revenge. It is a slow, cold, and ancient, biological calculation. It is the superorganism, the collective, acting as a single, unified, immune system, defending its body and seeking new resources. It is the clash of two, vast, distributed minds, and it is a war fought not with sound and fury, but with the silent, deadly, and unwavering logic of chemistry. It all begins, as every ant interaction does, with a single, chemical question: are you us? When two foragers, from two different empires, meet at the invisible, chemical border of their territories, their antennae will briefly, gently, touch. They are reading each other's passports. And in that fraction of a second, the discovery is made. The scent is wrong. It is other. This is not a sister. It is an intruder, a threat, a biological error. What happens next depends on the species, on the time of year, on the precise, chemical nature of the disagreement. For many ants, conflict is not the first, or even the best, solution. War is costly. It wastes precious energy and risks the lives of valuable, experienced workers. And so, many species have evolved a form of Cold War, a beautiful, strange, and almost gentlemanly system of ritualized combat. Imagine two vast, opposing forces, the foragers of two rival wooden colonies, meeting at a territorial boundary line. A battle is to be fought, but there is no chaotic charge. Instead, the two armies line up. They form two, distinct, and wavering fronts, facing each other, a few inches apart. And then, the tournament begins. A single ant from one side will step forward. A single ant from the other will step forward to meet her. They will not immediately fight. They will posture. They will rear up, opening their mandibles wide, a display of threat. They will engage in a kind of ritualized, antennae boxing, a high-speed negotiation. They may even lock their jaws, a test of pure, physical strength, a tiny, wrestling match. But the goal is not to kill. After a few seconds, they will break and retreat, unharmed, back to their own lines. And then, two more champions will step forward. This can go on for days. A slow, patient, and almost perfectly safe tournament of threats. The entire time, the ants are doing a calculation. They are assessing. How many are they? How large are they? How aggressive are they? The colony is, in essence, taking a census of its rival's strength. And, often, a victor is decided with almost no bloodshed at all. One side, in this collective, chemical calculation, will decide that the cost is too high, that the rival is too strong. And the army will, as one, turn and retreat, ceding the territory, the tree, the aphid flock. The war is over, decided not by a bloody battle, but by a perfect, mutual, and silent assessment. But not all ants are so polite. For other species, or when the resources at stake are too valuable, the discovery of other leads to only one immediate conclusion: total war. This is the clash of superorganisms, and it is a war of annihilation. It begins, again, with a chemical. The first ant to encounter the enemy releases her alarm pheromone. This is not the gentle follow trail. This is the chemical scream. It is an explosive, volatile cloud that shouts, intruder, danger, attack. This scent, this invisible firebell, spreads through the colony with the speed of the air itself. And the response is total. The colony's entire immune system is activated. From the nest, a river of soldiers and older workers pours forth, their bodies already flooded with their own, internal, aggressive chemicals. They are not afraid. They are not brave. They are simply activated. They are the white blood cells of the superorganism, and they are flowing, as one, to the site of the infection. The battle, when it is joined, is a site of terrible, chaotic, and collective purpose. It is a single, writhing, and shifting carpet of bodies. A million, tiny, six-legged soldiers, locked in a silent, existential struggle. And here, the specialized castes, the living weapons, fulfill their one, true destiny. The soldiers, the majors, those giant, specialized ants with their colossal, armored heads, wade into the fray. They are the living, front line. Their giant, sickle jaws, useless for feeding, are now the perfect, flesh-shearing tools. They clamp down on the leg, the antenna, the head of an enemy, and they do not let go. They are the living forceps, designed to hold and to crush. And all around them, the smaller, more agile workers are deploying their own, potent, chemical arsenal. Many ants, the formica or wood ants, have a specialized organ at the tip of their abdomen. It is a tiny, biological spray nozzle, an acidopore, and from this, they shoot a fine, accurate, and burning jet of formic acid. This is the chemical that gives ants their sharp, acrid smell. It is a potent, defensive compound. In this battle, it is their chemical weapon. They spray it into the eyes, the antennae, the sensitive joints of their enemies, a burning, blinding, and disorienting toxin. The air of the battlefield, if you were to kneel close, would be sharp with this smell, the collective, chemical fury of two empires at war. The battle is a simple, brutal, and mathematical equation. It is a war of attrition. The colony that can bring the most bodies, the colony that can sustain the most losses, will, in the end, be the victor. And the worker ant, the soldier, the individual, is totally, and beautifully, expendable. She has no fear of death. When she is wounded, when her leg is torn off, she will not retreat. She will not cry out. She will, with her last, dying breath, lock her jaws onto the enemy, her own, dead body becoming a final, passive, and useful weapon. Her only purpose is the we, the colony. And when the tide has turned, when the battle is won, the true, cold, and biological purpose of the war is revealed. The victorious army, the living river, does not just go home. It invades. It storms the tunnels of the defeated. It flows down into the subterranean city, killing the last, lingering pockets of resistance. And it finds the enemy's nursery. It finds the chambers filled with the precious, white, and helpless brood, the eggs, the larvae, the pupae. And the soldiers, the workers, will gently, carefully, one by one, pick up these children of their vanquished enemy. And they will carry them home. They carry them, in a long, funereal, and victorious procession, back to their own nest. And here, in the dark, they will be given to their own nurses. And these tiny, helpless, captured larvae will be eaten. They are not adopted. They are not enslaved. They are, simply, the ultimate spoils of war. They are a single, massive, and sudden injection of pure, perfect, and pre-packaged protein. The victorious colony has not just won territory. It has stolen the life force of its rival, and it will use that stolen energy to fuel the growth of its own children, to raise its own new generation of soldiers, to become, in the end, even stronger. But this story, this relationship, has one, final, and even stranger, twist. In some species, the captured brood is not eaten. This is the world of doulosis. This is the world of the slave-maker ant. Let us imagine a column of bright, blood-red ants, the Polyergus or Amazon ants. They are warriors, and only warriors. Their bodies are built for one thing, fighting. Their mandibles are long, curved, and needle-sharp, perfect for piercing the armor of another ant. But they are so specialized, so extreme, that they are, in every other way, helpless. They cannot dig a tunnel. They cannot hunt for food. They cannot even care for their own children. Their jaws, these perfect weapons, are unable to grasp their own, tiny larvae. They cannot even feed themselves. An Amazon ant, alone, will starve to death, even if she is standing in a pile of sugar. She is a living, breathing, and totally dependent weapon. Her colony must raid to survive. They are obligate slave makers. They do not fight for territory. They fight for bodies. The column of red warriors will storm the nest of a different, specific species, a formica or wood ant. They will flow into the nest, their chemical weapons and sharp mandibles overwhelming the defenders. But they are not there to kill. They are there to steal. They ignore the adult workers. They flow, with a single, unified purpose, to the nursery. And they steal the pupae. The little, motionless, transforming bundles. They carry these pupae back to their own, red, fortress. And they wait. When the black formica pupae hatch, they emerge, as all ants do, into a world of pure, chemical information. They are born into a world that smells like polyergus. They taste the Red Queen. They read the chemical signature of their captors. And they do not know they are slaves. They simply imprint. They believe, in their silent, chemical hearts, that this is home. And so, they do what they were born to do. They work. They excavate the tunnels. They clean the nest. They tend to the Red Queen. They care for the red, polyergus larvae. And, in the ultimate, tragic, and beautiful irony, they will even, mouth-to-mouth, feed the very red warrior soldiers who captured them. They are the living, stolen, and unknowing engine of a parasitic society, a colony of warriors, fed, housed, and raised by the very victims of their own, perpetual, and ancient war. And so, this ancient and complex society, this city of sisters, of farmers, and of soldiers, which we see as a tiny, bustling, and separate world, is, in truth, one of the most powerful and essential parts of our own. The ant colony is not just in the environment. It is the environment. It is a living, breathing, and collective force of nature, a biological engine that has been patiently and relentlessly shaping the physical and living landscape of our planet for 100 million years. We often speak of the great ecosystem engineers, the beavers that build dams, the corals that build reefs, the elephants that topple trees. But the greatest, most persistent, and most widespread engineer of all is the ant. Their work is so slow, so vast, and so microscopic that we, in our hurry, have failed to see it. But they are the true, silent, and patient gardeners of the world. Their first, and most profound, act of gardening is their work as the planet's tiny plows. That nest, that city, which we see as a simple whole, is the tip of a geological force. The act of building this subterranean empire, the constant excavation of tunnels and chambers, is an act of plowing. It is a slow, patient, and constant tilling of the earth's skin. In a single acre of quiet, temperate woodland, the ants beneath your feet will, in a single year, turn over tons of soil. They bring the deep, mineral-rich, and compacted lower soils up to the surface, particle by particle. And they take the rich, organic, and living surface litter, the fallen leaves, the tiny, dead insects, the fungal spores, and they carry it down, deep into their nest, into their larders, and into their midden or waste chambers. This is a quiet and perfect act of soil creation. They are, at all times, mixing, and stirring, and composting the planet. This endless, gentle, and microscopic excavation has a profound effect. It creates aeration. The millions of tiny, branching tunnels and shafts are the lungs of the soil, a network of microscopic pathways that allow air, and just as importantly, water, to penetrate deep into the earth. The rain, instead of sheeting off a hard, compacted surface, is caught by this ant-made, living sponge. It is drawn down, along the tunnels, watering the deep roots of the forest. The ant, in its simple, selfish, and daily act of building a home, is the quiet, unsung, and ancient partner of the trees. But this is not just a happy accident. This is a partnership. The ants, in their role as gardeners, have entered into one of the most beautiful and elegant contracts in the natural world. This is the story of myrmecochory, the dispersal of seeds by ants. Many plants, particularly the beautiful, fleeting, spring wildflowers of our temperate forests, have a problem. They are small. They live their short, beautiful lives on the forest floor, beneath the vast, high canopy. They cannot use the wind to disperse their seeds. The air is too still. They cannot use large, fleshy, attractive fruits. They are too small to attract birds or mammals. So, how do they move their children to a new, safe, and fertile home? They have, in an act of evolutionary genius, hired the ant. Imagine a single, tiny, dark brown seed of a violet, or a trillium. It is hard and smooth. But attached to it, like a tiny, pale, and fleshy backpack, is a small, nutrient-rich packet. This is the eleusum. It is a lunchbox, a payment, a perfect, fatty, and protein-rich gift. It is, in essence, a piece of pure, concentrated, and irresistible ant food. The plant has, at a great metabolic cost, wrapped its precious seed in a single, perfect, and targeted advertisement. The ant forager, this old, wise sister, moving across the forest floor in her endless, microscopic search, does not see the seed. She smells the eleusum. Her antennae, those perfect, chemical detectors, taste this fat, this protein, this abundance. It is a prize. And she is programmed, by her deepest, oldest instincts, to take this prize home. She is not a predator, she is a deliverer person. She seizes the seed, her jaws grasping the eleusum, and she begins the long, arduous, and heroic journey back to the nest. She is pulling this seed, a thing many times her own weight, a distance that, to her, is the equivalent of miles. She has, in this simple act, saved the seed. She has carried it away from the parent plant, where it would have to compete. She has hidden it from the seed-eating rodents, and birds, and beetles. And she has taken it to the single, safest, most perfect, and most protected place in the entire forest, home. But the story continues, in the dark. The forager brings her prize down, into the subterranean city. She carries it to the nursery. And here, the nurses, or perhaps the forager herself, will present this gift to the colony's helpless, hungry, and precious larvae. The tiny, grub-like larvae, with their own, small, sharp jaws, will chew this perfect, fatty, eleusum off the hard seed. The colony has been paid. The larvae have been fed. The contract is fulfilled. And what is left? The seed. The hard, smooth, and now useless seed. And the ant, as we know, is a creature of meticulous, obsessive, and perfect cleanliness. This seed is now garbage. It is a piece of inedible trash, cluttering up the clean, sacred, nursery. And so, the sanitation programming, the undertaker instinct, takes over. A worker ant will pick up this useless object, and she will carry it, not out of the nest, but to a specific chamber, the one place the colony has designated for all its waste, the midden. The graveyard. The compost heap. And this garbage dump, is the single, most perfect, and most luxurious, seedbed in the entire, known world. It is deep underground. It is safe from the killing frost of winter, and the scorching, deadly fire of the summer. It is safe from every, single, seed-eating creature on the surface. And it is, by its very nature, the most fertile place on Earth. It is a compost heap, rich in the colony's waste, the dead bodies of their sisters, their fecal droppings, their discarded food scraps. It is a pocket of the richest, blackest, and most perfect, slow-release fertilizer. And the ant, in her final, unknowing, and perfect act of gardening, plants the seed. She drops it, in the dark. And the seed, in this perfect, safe, and custom-fertilized, VIP nursery, germinates. It sends its roots down into the rich, ant-tilled, and fertile soil. And it sends its shoot up, following the faint, chemical gradients of the ant's own tunnels, a tiny, green explorer in a dark, foreign city, until it, finally, emerges into the light, often, beautifully, from the very same entrance hole of the colony that planted it. The entire, breathtaking, and ephemeral carpet of our spring forests, the bloodroot, the trillium, the violet, the hepatica, is a garden, planted, and tended, and protected, by an ancient, silent, and six-legged society of gardeners. They are the quiet and unknowing partners in all this beauty. They are the tiny, beating, and collective heart of the forest floor, a living, breathing, and patient force that is, at all times, cleaning, and plowing, and planting the world. This vast, underground, and climate-controlled city, this fortress of sisters, is not just a home. It is, in itself, a new, and perfect, and stable world. It is a biological island, a place of constant, managed temperature, a place of high, gentle humidity, and most importantly, a place that is, at all times, overflowing with food. There are chambers filled with the sweet, sugary, aphid honeydew. There are nurseries, overflowing with the soft, helpless, and protein-rich bodies of the ant larvae. There are larders, filled with captured seeds. And there are graveyards, the middens, which are, in themselves, a rich and constantly renewed feast of decay. This city, this warm, safe, and food-filled treasure chest, this fortress of perfect, predictable order, is a beacon. And in the vast and competitive wilderness of the outside world, this beacon has been seen. It has been sensed. And for 100 million years, the rest of the living world has been in a slow, evolutionary, and desperate race to find a way in. The ant colony is not an empty fortress. It is a metropolis, a bustling, cosmopolitan city, and it is teeming with guests. This is the strange and magical and often dark world of the myrmecophiles, the ant lovers. This is a story of the most ingenious and the most patient forms of deception. It is a story of spies, of mimics, of forgers, and of parasites. It is the story of how to breach the most secure fortress on Earth. The colony's defense, as we know, is its greatest strength. It is the scent. The colony perfume, that single, shared, and chemical signature that separates, with an absolute and merciless clarity, the us from the them. To enter the city, a creature must not just find the door. It must have the password. And so, for millions of years, evolution has been a silent, patient, and relentless codebreaker. The simplest and most humble of these guests are the ones who do not have the password, but have, instead, learned how to live in the walls. These are the tiny, silverfish, the wingless springtails, the almost microscopic mites. They are the commensals, the harmless roommates. They have evolved to be small, to be fast, and to be uninteresting. They do not dare to enter the main, living chambers. They do not approach the queen, or the brood. They live, instead, in the margins. They haunt the long, dark, and forgotten tunnels. And they make their entire, quiet living in the colony's garbage dump. They are the shadow janitors. They live in the midden, the ants' graveyard, and they feast on the discarded scraps, the fungal spores, and the bodies of the dead ants themselves. The ants, with their obsessive, chemical cleanliness, largely ignore them. These creatures are not sisters, but they do not smell like enemies. They are a chemical, neutral. They are the quiet and overlooked dust motes in the great machine. But from this simple, humble beginning, the deceptions become more profound. The next level of infiltration is not to live in the nest, but to hunt near it. This is the art of the mimic. Imagine a hunter, a predator, that has evolved to wear the uniform of its victim's protectors. Let us look at the myrmeracne, the ant-mimicking spider. This creature is a masterpiece of biological artifice. It is a jumping spider, a predator. But, at a glance, it is, in every single way, an ant. Evolution has sculpted its body. A spider's body is in 2 simple parts. The ant's is in 3. And so, the spider's body has evolved a false, pinched waist, a perfect, anatomical forgery, to give it the illusion of a 3-part ant body. An ant has 6 legs, and 2, elbowed, antennae. The spider, of course, has 8 legs, and no antennae. And here, its deception becomes a beautiful and conscious performance. The spider will walk, like an ant, on only 6 of its legs. And the frontmost pair, its first 2 legs, it holds up. It holds them aloft, in front of its head. And it taps them and waves them, in the same quick and delicate, tasting motion of an ant's antennae. It is not just looking like an ant. It is acting like an ant. It is a perfect, anatomical, and behavioral mime. And with this disguise, it can walk, safely, on the periphery of the ant's own foraging trails, a wolf, in the most perfect, sheep's clothing. The ants, fooled by its shape, and its movement, ignore it. And the spider, in its disguise, can hunt, not the ants, but the other, smaller, insects that are drawn to the ant's world, or, in a final, audacious act, it can even snatch a single, lone, and unsuspecting ant forager, and disappear, its disguise complete. But the final, and most profound, deception, is not to look like an ant. It is to smell like one. This is the master key. This is the secret of the true, integrated guests, the parasites that have not just breached the wall, but have been invited into the palace. This is the world of the staphylinid, the rove beetle. And this creature is the ultimate chemical forger. This beetle, which lives its entire life inside the dark, humid, and crowded tunnels of the ant nest, has, through millions of years of coevolution, cracked the code. It has evolved the specific, complex, and specialized glands to produce the ant's own pheromones. It has stolen the password, and it is now broadcasting it as its own. It is a living, breathing, and walking chemical forgery. The deception is absolute. When an ant, a guard, meets this beetle in the dark, she will taste it with her antennae. She will read its chemical passport. And the passport is perfect. It says, in a flawless, chemical accent, "I am us." The ant, her rigid, chemical logic, perfectly and utterly fooled, accepts the beetle as a sister. And now, the beetle, this parasite, becomes a citizen. It walks, unmolested, through the most sacred and protected chambers of the city. And it begins its work. It is a social parasite. It will approach a returning forager ant, an ant whose own social stomach is full of the sweet, precious aphid honeydew. The beetle will gently, rhythmically, tap the ant's mandibles and its antennae in the exact, correct, and ritualized begging motion, the trophallaxis request, that one ant uses to ask another for food. The ant, her brain, and her instincts, completely and chemically hijacked, cannot refuse. She believes she is feeding a sister. She regurgitates a precious, golden drop of her hard-won food, and she feeds her enemy. The beetle has not just stolen the password, it has hacked the vending machine. But the final and most terrible deception is still to come. The beetle, now fat and happy and fed by its slaves, makes its way to the nursery. It makes its way to the chambers of the helpless, precious, and sacred brood. And here, protected and ignored by the ant nurses, who all believe it smells like home, this cuckoo begins to feast. It will gently and quietly puncture the soft, white skin of a helpless ant larva, and it will drink it dry. It is a vampire in the heart of the cradle, and it will even lay its own eggs here in the royal nursery. And when the beetle larva hatches, it, too, smells right. It has its own chemical disguise. The ant nurses, their brains, and their deepest maternal instincts, now completely and tragically betrayed, will feed it. They will bring it the best, regurgitated food. They will groom it. They will protect it. They will, in some observed cases, even feed it, in preference to their own true sisters. The parasite, this cuckoo, is treated as royalty. It is a voracious alien prince, being raised and nourished and protected by the very biological engine of the empire it is, from its very birth, consuming from the inside out. And this is not even the strangest story. The alkan-blue butterfly, Maculinea, has a life cycle that is a fairy tale written by a madman. The butterfly lays its egg on a specific flower. The tiny caterpillar hatches. It eats the flower. And then, it does a strange and seemingly suicidal thing. It drops. It lets go, and it falls to the hard, dangerous ground. And it waits. It is a tiny morsel exposed. But it is calling. It is exuding a chemical, a perfume, that mimics, perfectly, the scent of a myrmica ant larva. A foraging ant, passing by, will smell this tiny, lost baby. She will recognize it. This is ours. She will gently and tenderly pick this caterpillar up, and she will carry it home. She carries this monster, this cuckoo, this alien, back to her own nest, and she places it, not just in the nursery, but in the most sacred part of the nursery, the chambers reserved for the oldest and most valuable larvae. But the caterpillar's deception is deeper. It not only smells right, it sings. Ants, as we know, are not silent. They speak to each other, not just with chemicals, but with sound. They make tiny, scraping, stridulating noises, a microscopic song that carries through the soil. And the song of a nurse ant is different from the song of a soldier. And the song of a queen is the most potent and magical of all. And this caterpillar, this tiny, soft imposter, has learned to sing. It scrapes its tiny body segments, and it produces a sound that is a perfect acoustic forgery of the song of the colony's queen. The ants, in the dark, are now not just fooled, but enchanted. They are in the presence of royalty. They will guard this caterpillar with their lives. They will bring it the best food. They will, in times of starvation, sacrifice their own true ant larvae, their own true sisters, to feed this imposter. The caterpillar, this royal cuckoo, will live in this dark and perfect safety for 10 months. It will feast on the ant brood. It will grow fat and lazy, and then it will form a chrysalis in the dark. And when it is ready, it will emerge as a wet and fragile butterfly deep in the enemy's fortress. And it will crawl, its new wings crumpled, through the dark and hostile tunnels, protected for a few final minutes by its lingering royal scent, until it reaches the surface and the sun. And it will climb a nearby stem, and it will pump its wings, and it will fly away. A perfect, beautiful, and monstrous trick. A life stolen from the very heart of the most perfect and most vulnerable society on Earth. This vast, sprawling, and complex city, a civilization of millions, of farmers, of ranchers, of soldiers, and of slaves, a city of silent, chemical conversations and dark, breathing, subterranean tunnels, presents us with the deepest and most profound mystery of all. Who, in this entire, vast, and perfect machine, is in charge? Where is the architect, who holds the blueprint for the nest? Where is the general, who commands the armies? Where is the logistics manager, who directs the flow of food? We, in our own human world, are a species defined by hierarchy, by leaders, and by followers. We cannot imagine a city, a corporation, or an army that does not have a central, conscious, and commanding mind. We look at the ant colony, and we assume, with a deep and innocent projection, that the queen must be this mind. We call her a queen, and we imagine a tiny, crowned monarch sitting on a throne of soil, issuing her royal and tiny decrees. But this, as we have learned, is the great and beautiful misunderstanding. The queen is not a ruler. She is the heart. She is the central, precious, and reproductive organ. She does not give a single command. She does not know that the nest is under attack. She does not decide where to build a new tunnel. She has but one sacred and all-consuming purpose: to lay the eggs. She is the mother of the city, not its mind. And so, the mystery deepens. If the queen is not in charge, and the single worker ant, with her tiny, simple, and programmed brain, is not in charge, then who is? The answer is as beautiful, as simple, and as profoundly alien as the fungus kingdom's own hidden web. The answer is no one and everyone. The colony thinks not with a brain, but with a system. The intelligence is not in the ant. The intelligence is the ant, and the sister she meets, and the chemical trail she leaves, and the rule she follows. The intelligence is a property. It is not a thing. It is a process. It is a slow, beautiful, and decentralized thought, a thought that is spread across a million tiny and selfless bodies. This is the world of emergence and of swarm intelligence. It is the story of how a million simple and dumb local interactions can give rise to a single, complex, and breathtakingly intelligent global behavior. Let us drift, for a moment, to the forest floor. And let us ask the simplest question: how does the colony find the shortest possible path to a new and wonderful source of food? This is a complex, mathematical optimization problem. It is a problem that, for our own human computer networks, requires a complex and sophisticated algorithm. We call it, in our world, the traveling salesman problem. The ant, of course, knows nothing of mathematics. She does not carry a map. She cannot, in her mind, see the geometry of the landscape. And yet, the colony, as a whole, will solve this problem perfectly in a matter of hours. And it does so with two simple and elegant rules. Rule 1 is the pheromone trail, the chemical follow me. Rule 2 is the simple biological fact that a shorter path takes less time to walk. This is the magic. Imagine the nest, and 100 yards away, a new and perfect fallen apple. The first, foraging, ants, the old, wise, sisters, leave the nest. They are not in a line. They are in a cloud. They are wandering randomly, in all directions, their antennae tasting the world. One ant, by pure and simple luck, wanders in a long, looping, and inefficient path, and she finds the apple. She eats. She turns for home. And as she walks her long, looping path, she leaves her gentle, chemical breadcrumb, her follow-me scent. She arrives at the nest. Now, imagine a second ant. By pure and simple luck, her own random path was shorter. It was more direct. She, too, finds the apple. She, too, eats, and she, too, returns, leaving her own chemical trail. But her journey, her round trip, was faster. In the same 30 minutes that the first long path ant has made one single trip, this short path ant has already made two. And here, the genius of the positive feedback loop begins. The short path trail has now been voted for twice. It has been reinforced, and it is now twice as strong, twice as loud, twice as attractive as the long path trail. Now, a new wave of foragers leaves the nest. They are programmed with one simple rule: follow the strongest scent. They are not choosing the short path. They are simply being pulled by the louder chemical song. They all flow to the short path. And as they all return, they all reinforce that same short path. The chemical shout of this way becomes a roar. Meanwhile, the first long path trail, which is volatile and has not been reinforced, is already evaporating. It is a whisper that is fading. The colony is forgetting its mistakes. In a matter of hours, thousands of ants are flowing in a single, perfect, and efficient river along the one mathematically shortest possible path. No ant knows it is the shortest path. No ant designed it. The colony, as a single, collective, calculating mind, has discovered it and voted on it in a perfect, chemical, and silent democracy. We, in our human world, have seen the genius of this, and we have stolen it. Our own most complex logistical software, the programs that route our Amazon packages, that manage our telecommunication networks, are based on the ant colony optimization algorithm, a piece of simple and ancient wisdom borrowed from a mind that has been running this program in the dark for 100 million years. This decentralized thinking is how they build. How does a civilization of millions build a vast and climate-controlled cathedral with arches and ventilation shafts and nurseries with no architect? The answer is a beautiful concept called stigmagy. It is a word that means simply the work tells the worker what to do next. The intelligence is not in the ant. It is in the environment. It is in the structure itself. An ant, a builder ant, is not thinking, I must build an arch. She is programmed with a set of rules, so simple they are almost laughable. Rule 1, wander randomly. Rule 2, if you are carrying a grain of soil and you smell a construction pheromone plus a soil grain scent and this scent pile is higher than the others, drop your grain of soil here. This is how it begins. A single ant drops a single grain of soil, which she herself has scented with her work pheromone. A second ant, wandering by, treads that scent. Her rule is triggered. She is slightly more likely to drop her grain of soil next to the first one. This creates a tiny chemical hotspot. A third and a fourth ant are now even more likely to drop their grains here. A tiny pile becomes a pillar. It is a positive feedback loop, a success breeds success model. A tiny, random accumulation of work attracts more work. And now, 2 such pillars are growing near each other. The air currents in the tunnel are changed by these new structures. The construction pheromone scent, which is volatile, will now flow differently. It will perhaps pool and linger in the space between the 2 pillars. A new worker ant carrying her grain of soil will wander into this scent pool. And her rule is triggered. Drop the grain here. And she drops her grain between the 2 pillars. And so does the next ant. And the next. Slowly, blindly, and perfectly, an arch is born. No ant intended to build an arch. No ant knew what an arch was. The ants were simply following their simple, local rules. The structure itself, by changing the flow of chemical information, told the colony where to build next. The blueprint is the building. This collective mind can decide. It can choose. When a colony needs to move, when its old nest is flooded or compromised, how does 1,000,000 individuals agree on a new home? It is a social cascade. Scouts, the old foragers, are sent out. They explore randomly. One scout finds a new hole, a crack in a rock. She enters, and she measures it with her simple rules. Rule 1, is it dark? Yes. Rule 2, is the entrance hole small? Yes. Rule 3, is the internal chamber large? Yes. Rule 4, is it humid? Yes. She does not think this is a great new apartment. She simply has a quality score. This hole is a 9 out of 10. She is excited. Her level of excitement is proportional to the quality of the nest. Because it is a 9, she returns to the old nest. And she performs a medium recruitment behavior. She perhaps lays a faint trail. Or she performs a tandem run. She finds one other sister, and she leads her slowly to the new site. Now, imagine a different scout. She finds a different hole, a hollow log. She measures it. It is dark. It is humid. The entrance is perfect. The chamber is huge. This is a 10 out of 10. This is perfect. Her level of excitement is maximal. She does not return and lead one sister. She runs back. She lays a blazing, strong pheromone trail. She is shouting chemically, and she will carry a sister. She will pick up a nestmate and run with her to the new site. This is a high-speed recruitment, and this is the vote. The better the nest site, the faster the recruitment cascade. The 10 out of 10 site will very quickly attract a crowd. The 9 out of 10 site will only attract a trickle. The vote is weighted, and when the number of ants at the 10 out of 10 site reaches a certain threshold, a quorum, a critical mass, a new signal is given. A tipping point is reached. The decision has been made. The social cascade becomes a landslide. All the scouts stop recruiting for their old sites, and a new signal is given to the entire colony. Move now to this new address. The queen is carried. The brood is carried. The entire million citizens move as one. The colony has held an election, debated the options, and reached a unanimous consensus, all without a single word or a single thought, just the beautiful and perfect mathematics of a competing set of chemical songs. This is the mind of the superorganism. It is a thought that is slow, that is patient, and that is a million strong. This collective mind, this thought woven from a million tiny bodies and a silent, chemical language, is not just a curiosity. It is one of the great and most successful solutions to the puzzle of life on Earth. The ant superorganism, in its many forms, has conquered nearly every terrestrial habitat on our planet, from the frozen tundra to the steaming rainforest, from the highest mountains to the deepest, driest deserts. Their biomass, the sheer, collective weight of all the ants on Earth, is estimated to equal, or perhaps even exceed, the total biomass of all humanity. They are the true, silent, and six-legged rulers of the world beneath our feet. And their success is built not on individual brilliance, but on the profound and quiet power of the collective. This collective power allows them to achieve feats that seem almost impossible for creatures so small. Consider the challenge of crossing a gap. A single ant, reaching the edge of a broken twig, a small chasm in the forest floor, is faced with an abyss. It cannot jump. It cannot fly. But the colony can build a bridge. This is one of the most breathtaking displays of swarm intelligence, a living, self-assembling, and perfectly functional piece of engineering. When the flow of foragers, following a rich pheromone trail, reaches this gap, the ants do not simply stop. The first ant to reach the edge pauses, assesses the distance with her antennae, and then she simply stops. She freezes, holding her position. The ant behind her, sensing this sudden halt, climbs over her sister's body, reaches the new edge, and she, too, freezes. The next ant climbs over both of them. Ant by ant, they begin to link their bodies together, hooking their tiny, tarsal claws onto the legs and bodies of their sisters, creating a living chain, a cable that stretches out into the void. More ants join, strengthening the cable, forming parallel strands. They are weaving a bridge in mid-air, using nothing but their own bodies as the building material. The structure is dynamic. It is alive. Ants within the bridge can shift, adjusting the tension, strengthening a weak point. And all the while, the other ants, the foragers carrying food, the soldiers, the returning sisters, begin to walk across this living, trembling, and perfect structure. They are using their own sisters as the road. The ants who are the bridge remain, motionless, selfless, for minutes, perhaps hours, their bodies enduring the strain, their tiny muscles locked, until the flow of traffic ceases, until the resource is depleted, or until a new, easier path is found. And then, As silently and as smoothly as it formed, the bridge dissolves. The ants unhook themselves, becoming individuals once more, and flow back into the great, collective river. No ant designed the bridge. No ant commanded its construction. The bridge simply emerged from the simple, local rules. If you reach a gap, stop. If you reach a stopped ant, climb over, and stop. A million, tiny, local decisions, creating a single, vast, and elegant, global solution. This same, emergent intelligence allows them to create living rafts. Imagine a flood. A sudden, tropical downpour turns the forest floor into a raging river. A colony of fire ants, living in the soil, is faced with annihilation. But they do not panic. They do not drown. As the waters rise, a new set of rules is triggered. The ants begin to link their bodies together, not in a line, but in a mesh. They grasp each other's legs and mandibles, weaving themselves into a single, vast, and buoyant, living fabric. This raft is a miracle of natural engineering. The ants' bodies are naturally water-repellent, covered in tiny hairs that trap a thin layer of air. When woven together, this trapped air creates a single, unified, and unsinkable platform. The queen, and the precious, helpless brood, are moved to the very center, and to the bottom of the raft, the safest, driest, and most protected place. The workers form the structure, the floor, the walls, and the roof. And this living, breathing, and slowly shifting island, which can contain hundreds of thousands of individuals, will float on the floodwaters for days, even weeks. They drift, helplessly, carried by the current. But they are alive. They are together. They are the entire colony, transformed into a single, living, buoyant ark. And when, eventually, this living raft touches dry land, it simply disassembles. The ants unwoven themselves, step back onto the earth, find a new place, and begin, immediately, the work of building a new city. This ability to act as one, to flow, to reshape, and to become the very structure they need, is the heart of their ancient, global success. It is a success built on perfect, selfless, and genetically programmed cooperation. The colony is a family. In almost all ant species, every single worker you see is female. They are all sisters, born from the same, single mother, the queen. The males, as we know, are fleeting, short-lived creatures, existing only for that single, nuptial flight. The city, the empire, is a sorority, a vast, complex, and powerful society of women. And their bond, their perfect cooperation, is cemented by their shared genetics. A worker ant is more closely related to her sister than a human child is to its own sibling. This deep, genetic kinship is the biological glue that holds the superorganism together. The self-sacrifice, the willingness to die for the colony, is not an act of altruism, in our human sense. It is an act of perfect, genetic self-interest. By saving the colony, by ensuring the survival of the queen and the next generation of sisters, the worker ant is ensuring the propagation of her own genes, the genes she shares so intimately with the entire, collective body. But nature, in its endless, beautiful, and sometimes cruel, creativity, loves to test even the most perfect systems. What happens when this perfect, genetic unity breaks down? What happens when the chemical signal, the scent of home, becomes confused? This leads us to one of the most bizarre and tragic phenomena in the ant world, the ant mill, the spiral of death. Sometimes, usually in species like army ants that rely heavily on following pheromone trails in their nomadic life, something goes wrong. A group of foragers, perhaps disoriented by rain, or by a confusing patch of ground, can accidentally loop back onto their own trail. The lead ant begins to follow the scent of the ant just behind her, and the ant behind her follows the ant behind her. They have created a closed loop, a perfect, inescapable, chemical circle. The pheromone trail reinforces itself, becoming stronger and stronger, a blazing, circular, chemical command that says, simply, follow, follow, follow. And the ants obey. They cannot not obey. Their simple, programmed brains are locked in a fatal, feedback loop. They begin to walk, in a perfect, single-file, circle. More ants, returning from foraging, will join this strange, spinning vortex, drawn in by the powerful, circling scent. The circle grows, becoming a vast, slow, and hypnotic, spinning disk of living ants. A carousel of death. They will walk and walk and walk, following the sister in front, reinforcing the trail for the sister behind, trapped in a perfect, collective, and leaderless madness. They will walk until they drop from sheer, physical exhaustion. They will walk until they starve. They will walk until they die. The ant mill can spin for days, becoming a slow, spreading carpet of the dead and dying, a tragic and perfect illustration of the power, and the occasional, catastrophic fragility, of a mind that is built purely on simple, local rules. It is a system of genius, but it has its own rare and terrible blind spots. And yet, for every rare instance of such a breakdown, there are a million daily instances of perfect, collective success. The ant colony, this ancient and distributed intelligence, has learned, over its vast and patient history, to solve almost every conceivable problem. It has learned to farm. It has learned to build bridges. It has learned to weave nests from living leaves. It has learned to turn its own sisters into living honeypots. It has learned to wage war with chemical precision. And it has learned to wrap its entire civilization into a living, breathing, unsinkable raft. It is a testament to the quiet and relentless power of cooperation. It is a living, breathing, and six-legged proof that the whole can be infinitely greater, wiser, and more resilient than the sum of its tiny and perfect parts. This silent, collective mind, this civilization built on the perfect, unwavering logic of the swarm, has conquered the world not through brute force, but through sheer, adaptive diversity. The ant is not one thing. It is 15,000 different, beautiful, and intricate answers to the simple question of how to live. Each species is a unique, evolutionary masterpiece, a tiny, living sculpture, perfectly carved by its environment, by its food, by its enemies, and by the slow, patient, and invisible hand of time. To drift through the world of ants is to drift through a living library of biological invention. Imagine the blistering, shimmering heat of the Sahara Desert. The sand is a furnace, reaching temperatures that would kill most insects in minutes. And yet, here lives the Cataglyphis, the Saharan silver ant. It is a creature born of the inferno. It has evolved legs that are impossibly long, stilts that lift its tiny, silver body high above the scorching sand, allowing it to move in the precious, cooler layer of air just above the surface. Its body is coated in unique, triangular hairs that act as a perfect, silvered mirror, reflecting the sun's brutal rays, keeping its core temperature survivable. And it moves with a speed that seems impossible, a shimmering, silver blur, sprinting across the sand at speeds equivalent to a human running at hundreds of miles per hour. It is a creature that hunts in the hottest part of the day, when all its predators, the lizards, the birds, are forced to take shelter. It sprints out from its cool, deep, underground nest into the deadly furnace, searching for the tiny corpses of other insects that have succumbed to the heat. It is a scavenger of the apocalypse, a tiny, silver ghost, navigating this lethal landscape using a complex, internal compass, reading the polarized light of the sky, counting its own footsteps with an internal pedometer, always knowing the exact, straight-line path back to the tiny, life-saving hole of its home. It is a creature pushed to the absolute, physical limit, a tiny, silver miracle of adaptation. Now, let us float, weightless, into the high, green canopy of the Southeast Asian rainforest. Here, life is not a battle against heat, but against gravity. It is a world of dizzying heights, of sudden falls. And here lives the cephalotes ant, the turtle ant, or, more poetically, the gliding ant. These ants live their lives in the trees, foraging high above the ground. And sometimes, they fall. A gust of wind, a misstep, a clumsy predator. For a normal ant, a fall from such a height would be a one-way trip, a separation from the colony, a death sentence. But the gliding ant has learned to fly. Or rather, it has learned to fall with style. As it tumbles through the air, it uses its flattened head, its wide, flattened legs, and its ability to shift its body, to steer. It performs a controlled, aerial descent. It can aim its fall. It targets the dark, vertical line of a tree trunk against the bright sky. And with an accuracy that is almost unbelievable, it will glide, making mid-air corrections, and land, safely, back on the rough bark of a tree, often the same tree it fell from. It turns a potentially fatal accident into a mere, temporary detour. It is an arboreal acrobat, a tiny, living parachute, a creature that has conquered the fear of falling. Let us sink, now, into the damp, dark, leaf litter of the forest floor. Here, speed is not always the answer. Sometimes, the answer is patience. And power. This is the realm of the Odontomachus, the trapjaw ant. This ant is a hunter, a predator of the small, fast-moving springtails and mites that live in the soil. And it has evolved one of the single, fastest, biological mechanisms known to science. Its mandibles, its jaws, are long, straight, and held open, locked in place by a tiny, internal latch, like a miniature, biological bear trap. They are held open at a perfect, 180-degree angle, storing enormous, potential energy in the powerful muscles of its head. The ant waits, motionless, its sensitive trigger hairs on the inside of its jaws extended. It waits for the faintest touch, the brush of a passing springtail. And when that touch comes, the latch releases. The jaws snap shut with a speed that is almost beyond comprehension. They accelerate from 0 to over 140 miles per hour in less than a millisecond. It is one of the fastest movements in the entire animal kingdom, faster than the blink of an eye, faster than a bullet leaving a gun. The force of this impact is so extreme that it can stun, crush, or even kill its prey outright. But the jaw snap has another, even stranger, purpose. If the ant finds itself in danger, if a predator, like a lizard or a larger spider, attacks, the trapjaw ant has an escape mechanism like no other. It will deliberately snap its jaws down, striking them, with full force, against the ground, or a pebble, or a root. The resulting, explosive, recoil, the sheer, physical rebound from this impact, is so powerful that it launches the ant backwards, into the air, somersaulting it, uncontrollably, several inches away, often landing it safely, out of the predator's reach. It uses its own weapon, as an emergency ejector seat. And this diversity extends beyond mere, physical form. It extends into the very fabric of their societies. Not all ants live in vast, subterranean cities. Consider the temnothorax ant, a tiny, gentle creature that lives its entire life within the perfect, pre-made, miniature castle of a single acorn, or a hollow twig. Their colonies are small, perhaps only a few dozen individuals. They are the quiet, unassuming, introverts of the ant world. And because their world is so small, their society is different. There is less rigid division of labor. An individual ant may act as a nurse one day, a forager the next, a guard the day after. And their collective decision-making, like choosing a new acorn home when the old one is damaged, is a model of careful, slow, and democratic debate. Scouts explore potential new homes, assess their quality, and then use the slow, patient, tandem running method, leading a single sister, to recruit others. It is a process of slow, careful consensus building, a tiny, perfect, and peaceful acorn republic. This endless variation, this 15,000-fold explosion of different ways to be an ant, is the secret to their quiet, global dominion. They have filled every niche. They have mastered every environment. They have become the farmers, the ranchers, the soldiers, the architects, the weavers, the gliders, and the living pantries. They are the tiny, constant, and collective gardeners of the earth, the silent partners in the health of our soils, the dispersal of our seeds, and the intricate, beautiful balance of almost every ecosystem we know. Their sheer, unassuming, and universal presence is a testament to the profound and quiet success of thinking, not as an I, but as a we. They are the oldest and most enduring civilization on our planet, a silent, six-legged reminder that true strength and true resilience is found not in the power of one, but in the perfect, selfless, and intricate harmony of the many. And so, we bring our quiet exploration of the ants' world to a gentle close. We have seen them as architects of vast, hidden cities, as patient farmers and ranchers, as disciplined soldiers, and as masters of a silent, chemical language. We have marveled at their collective intelligence, a mind woven not from a single brain, but from the simple, elegant rules followed by millions. From the scorching desert to the humid rainforest canopy, from the living bridge to the floating raft, ants have shown us the profound power found in unity, in selflessness, and in perfect cooperation. They are the tiny, tireless engineers of our planet, constantly shaping the world beneath our feet in ways we rarely perceive. Let the image of this ancient, collective life, this silent hum of purpose, soothe your mind. Feel the intricate connections of their world mirroring the quiet connections within your own body as it prepares for rest. Let the vastness of their tiny empire remind you of the deep, quiet peace that can be found in letting go, in becoming part of something larger. Allow your thoughts to soften now, like the earth yielding to their tunnels. Let the quiet diligence of the ant inspire a sense of calm acceptance. There is no need to strive, only to rest. Breathe deeply, and let this ancient, tiny world lull you into a peaceful and well-deserved sleep. Good night.